We can start.
Yes. Good evening all, and a warm welcome to you all, and a special welcome to the today's resource persons. Sri Venugopal Gella ji, Tally Evangelist, very warm welcome to you, sir. And also Sri Shanmukha C G, product expert from Tally. A warm welcome to you also, sir. Venugopal Gella ji is a very good friend of mine. I am Pannaraj, Vice Chairman of SIRC of ICAI, and my Chairman and Secretary have requested me to support the day's proceedings. So I am here today. A warm welcome to all the attendees also. Today's topic is E-Invoicing made easy with the Tally Prime. So description, E-Invoice applicability, generating E-Invoice in Tally Prime, handling various scenarios, bulk upload, cancellation of E-Invoice, E-Invoice registers, etc., and then Q&A session. So before I hand over the proceedings to the paper presenters, I'll take the pleasure of introducing them to you all. And I first introduce CA Venugopal Gella ji and then Shanmukha ji. So CA Venugopal Gella, FCA, DISA, ISA, SISA membership from Bangalore, is a founder partner of Venu and Vinay Chartered Accountant since 2002. His academic credentials include securing All India 45th rank in CA final, and he is also a certified information systems auditor. He has also completed various other certificate courses from ICAI, namely DISA course on business valuation, course on internal audit, course on fraud detection and forensic accounting. He has also completed a one-year course from IIM on data analysis and business intelligence. He is an active speaker at ICAI on GST, especially on technology and its implementation challenges. He has authored various industry-specific handbooks on GST. He has contributed to the technical guidance on GST audit released by ICAI and other publication materials. He conducts workshops on filing returns with ease, use of automation. He has developed a lot of Excel-based free utilities on GST like JSON, JSON reader, creating JSON files, GST and validator, composition versus regular benefit analysis, etc. He is a GST faculty for the ICAI and conducts various workshops and webinars. He played an active role in drafting and designing of E-Invoice along with the GST and INIC. His other areas of practice include design and development of internal controls and process documentation, consulting in ERP implementation and migration, management consultancy for business analysis and growth and design of management information system. Apart from audits, he is a hands-on coding in VBNet or Python. He also reviews database design. He conducted various workshops for corporates on use of technology, improve efficiency at various work using Excel, building automated reports for from accounting and financial applications. He was behind in the development and managing of cloud application like TaxSmile, Insta Financials, and others. With this illustrious career, we are very happy to have you here, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be here today. And especially thank you very much for being here at the in this log hours of the tax audit deadline of September 30th. I should thank even the members who are present here because these are the areas we cannot keep the what's called deadlines as a hurdle for conducting such programs, and hence we keep going at SIRC level. I now take the pleasure of introducing the AGM Product Excellence, Shanmukha C G. He is qualified BSc DCOM Diploma in Computer Office Management, more than 27 years of total experience working with various software product companies. His experience in understanding SMEs requirements and has adequate domain knowledge in financial accounting, inventory management, and taxation. He has been working with the Tally for last 17 years. So passionate in training people on IT adoption for businesses, training content creation, enabling trainers. played a key role in enabling professionals to adapt work from home environment, prepared training contents, and conducted more than 100 product knowledge sessions for GSTPs and CA Institute during pandemic, and respected Tally as a represented Tally as speaker in more than 120 customer events during GST launch across South India. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation, Shanmukha ji, and a very warm welcome to you all. Once again, a warm welcome to all the attendees. I am very happy to see so many attendees despite the deadline. So thank you very much, and I hand over the proceedings to Mr. Venugopal Gella. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words in introducing us. And as you rightly said, it is very heartening to see so many members just before the tax audit deadline. And also, I am really not at discomfort because I don't practice in tax or income tax. So I'm very, very much at ease in doing today's session. All right. So let me start this session. Yeah. So I have along with me CG Shanmukha from the Tally. He would be addressing any of the technical queries on the Tally which I am unable to handle it. I would be focusing more in today's session on giving the concept of e-invoice, making sure that where it is applicable, where it is not applicable, in what situations, how do you deal with that? We will be dealing with all those things. And we will look at what are the contents of the e-invoice schema. And we'll spend more time in generating e-invoice through Tally Prime. I will also walk you through the government portal, which has been instrumental, where you will be generating e-invoice, how you will link your account in the government portal to the Tally. So how do we create all those things? We will be looking at that. First and foremost, I should thank all the participants for taking your time and being here. Feel free to interact. Put your questions in the chat box. Your chat box is there. You can put your questions there. I will take up the questions as and when it comes. In between also, we will have a break. Students and members, you don't need to mention your membership number or an SRO number, so no one would be tracking anything from here. So do not post any information in the chat box disturbing the others. With this note, let us begin the session. Firstly, let's understand the concept of e-invoice. Accounting today has become like a metric. Like Tally as an accounting software, I'm sure many of you have been using it, and Tally is like a synonym for accounting. In Tally, when you post an entry, you have debit, credit to buy. But the bigger ERPs which are coming in, or the cloud applications that are coming in, or per se the Tally which you're customizing and where the data entry is automated. If you look at it, today the accountants do a transaction processing. They do a transaction processing, assuming if I'm posting a sales entry in an ERP, I select the customer, I select the item that I'm selling, I select the quantity I'm selling, I select the go down from which I'm moving and the rate at which I am selling it. Boom, the invoice gets created. So an accountant doesn't need to historically know that every transaction should have a debit and a credit. When I select the tax ledgers by default get created to a liability ledger and they get credited there. Your customer is debited with the full value. So these posting into the ledgers, everything has become an automatic system. Today, it is a transaction processing, and for the computers, there is like in the database, there are some data tables. Data goes and resides into respective tables at the wherever it belongs to, right? So having said that, digitization is the way forward. You can't imagine you are walking into the office today, internet is not working, then half the day you really don't know what you need to do. If you don't have a computer, your computer is not working, you don't even know what you have to do. So we are so much dependence on various applications that without them, we will not be able to do anything, right? But with more and more digitization, more and more automation, we have been moving up in the scale of doing business. Ease of doing business, we've been growing up year on year. In fact, when the E-Invoice got implemented, the people, when they have made an independent survey and made an estimate, they said this is going to give a huge cost saving to us. Not just that, it is going to bring huge time saving. With the time saving, automatically it brings efficiency. Imagine if someone has to post entries in a physical ledger book, vis-a-vis someone posting entries instead of the physical ledger book, they are posting entries in the computer. How much amount of the time they are saving? So it automatically brings efficiency. Not just efficiency, but it also brings the better tax compliances, both for the department officers and for the in-house, the accounting audit management team. It brings a lot of ease and efficiency to the system. Now, you may ask this question, why e-invoicing? What is e-invoicing? I am already using computer systems. I'm no longer doing a pen and paper on a bill book. I am not doing it. Am I not compliant with the e-invoicing? There are various questions that might be in your mind. Please note, there is a difference between a digital document versus an electronic document. Back into the computer world, computer understands and processes everything as numbers 1 and 0. That's it. For computer, everything is ones and zeros. Today, if you are printing an invoice and giving it to the customer, you may be printing into a PDF document. You might be saving as a HTML. You might be saving as an XML. You may convert into a Word or an Excel and send it. You are printing on a physical paper and giving it. Whatever you are communicating to your customers in one or the other form, digital or physical. But the data that goes to the customer, does it be understandable by the software which the customer is having? If it is a sales for me, it is a purchase for the customer, right? If I'm giving him a document, can his computer understand the document? The answer is a no, because that software is designed in a different manner. Your software is designed in another manner. If a software like SAP is having, it will have its own data sets back inside. Even the users of the Tally in your at the control and calculator panel, if you just give select start from ledger, it will give you some around 250 attributes of a ledger. So the data of one item has so many values with its own definition defined. So only the Tally related schema of JSON XML can get into another Tally. So there is no interoperability. There is actually no definition of an invoice in India. An accounting standard, if you say AS9 or AS7, it talks about the way in which you can recognize your revenue. After recognizing revenue, it doesn't say that this should be the invoice. Even if you look at GST, your rule 46 on A, B, C, D up until R, it gives you certain minimum expected thing, what should be there in an invoice. If you go to Weights and Measurement Act, it will say that, okay, print this. Drug Control Act may say print this. expiry or whatever be the thing. No one is saying that this is the contents of an invoice. And in 2018, the finance minister in the budget said that we would bring a concept of digitalizing the invoice and an electronic invoice. GSTN, in participation with ICAI, has taken up this role to create a standard, ensuring there is an interoperability of the e-invoices across the entire GST ecosystem, so that the data generated by one software can be easily be read by another software, thereby eliminating the need of the fresh data entry is the one which are the main reason why they have brought it. Then this data can also be exchanged with other agents like buyers or the wholesale banking to give invoice-based financing. So they have brought in more things. There are myths with the people about e-invoice. Now, before that, if you look at this picture, it will understand whatever I have said. Imagine you have a different type of plugs. Say you are using type D or type M charger, and you are traveling abroad. Can you use your charger in a different country? Maybe they were with type G or type A. So all that you have to do is you have to change the adapter. The only way your mobile will be able to charge is maybe you cut the wire and use the raw power. That's what the mobile needs, the raw power. And that is what we are saying, the electronic invoice is the computers need an electronic document, electronic information which they can understand. So that is where the e-invoice that has come into the picture. The myth that people have is e-invoice is generated by a single central software, or you should be stop using your current ERP, go to a different ERP, or it is only for the taxable supplies, it is only for GST purpose, or you have to change the ERP, whatever. So the people have many of the myths. But the point is, it is going to become a better taxpayer services. It is going to give a reduction in tax evasion and bring efficiency into the tax administration system. That is what e-invoice is going to bring to us. Now let's look at the genesis and the origin of the e-invoice. Now e-invoice has been actually started from 1st September 2020 for people above 500 crores. It was actually a period of COVID. People thought that there cannot be e-invoice and government will defer. But the government said, okay, fine, we'll give a 30-day relaxation. And they started the concept of e-invoice on 1st October 2020. And when they brought this on 1st October 2020, they have made it very clear that this system is robust, stable, and tested. Now, in the I was just looking at the data which is published by NIC. As on this year, beginning this year, they have said around 3.5 lakh users are generating e-invoice, and they are generating towards 90 lakh users. So if you look at it, there are 3.5 lakh taxpayers who are doing e-invoice, they are generating towards 90 lakhs. Today we have 1.4 crore GST registered users. So they are also doing in this Pareto analysis method, wherein if you look at it, the number of users who are generating e-invoice in the ecosystem, if there are this many number of invoice users who are generating e-invoices, the number of invoices generated by them is this. And number of users who are not generating e-invoice is a huge list. These many people are not generating. and the quantum of invoices they are generating is only small. So a small set of people are generating large number of invoices. So the government said, I think it is better first let us bring the bigger people into the system. Slowly from October 500 crores, 200 crores, from there move to 50 crores, from there move to 20 crores, and now the new ask is starting from 1st October 2022 on this Navaratri days, the e-invoice is going live. And they said whose aggregate turnover is between 10 crores and 20 crores is where the e-invoice is applicable. The definition of the 10 crores means, or whatever be the thing, it is aggregate turnover. 2 subsection 6, which talks about the aggregate turnover. That means your taxable supplies, exempt supplies, reverse charge outward supplies, exports, all put together on a pan-India basis. You have to test this turnover. You have to test this turnover on a pan-India basis. For example, if your turnover in state 1, in the state of Tamil Nadu, your turnover is 5 crores. In the state of Telangana, your turnover is 6 crores. Both the states, the turnover is lower than 10 crores. But cumulatively, your turnover is exceeding 10 crores. Then the concept of e-invoice arises and e-invoice is applicable. The next important thing, you might be noticing that this says in any of the financial year starting from 17-18. So between 17-18 or 18-19 or 19-20 or 20-21, if your turnover is more than, or 21-22 by that, for that matter, if in any of this years, if your turnover is more than 10 crores, and what does this mean? Let's say in 18-19 pre-COVID, my turnover was 15 crores. Post-COVID, the turnover drastically reduced. So 19-20, 20-21, 21-22, we are at a turnover of 4 crores. Is the e-invoice is applicable? Answer is yes. In any of the previous financial year, if your turnover is exceeding 10 crores, then in the current financial year, e-invoice is going to be applicable to you. And if the current year turnover is exceeding 10 crores and not the preceding years, then the e-invoice is going to be applicable from the next financial year. So any questions to participants on this at this point? Vishwanathan is asking how to generate e-invoice from different location. We will, I will show you demonstration through Tally how we are going to do it. Any question on the turnover? Because he is asking, can you repeat the last statement for qualification? In any of the preceding financial years, if your turnover, aggregate turnover is exceeding 10 crores, then the e-invoice is applicable from 1st October 2022. If the previous years did not exceed, but the current year likely to exceed, say by December of this year, you will cross 10 crores. The e-invoice will be applicable from next financial year. Subhash, we are not going to talk on assessment here because this is not income tax. We will be talking on a financial year basis. PM money, if I'm starting a new company, then e-invoice will be applicable from second year only. Absolutely correct. Perfect. I think everyone are clear with this. If you're clear with this aggregate turnover, can you type it as yes in the chat? You know, in a virtual session, I don't know what people are listening, not listening, audible, not audible, all those challenges would come up, especially technology breakdowns happen. Okay, I got a reasonable yes. So I am considering the other people are also saying yes in their mind, just lazy to type as yes. That's perfectly fine. Now, let's look at the legal provisions. See, anything in India, if he is asking you to do something, first thing you will ask is from where is it given in the act, which notification, which rule is saying, all those things comes up. Yeah. Let's now look at those questions of yours that from where the CE invoice is coming into the picture. You know, GST, when they have drafted, they already envisaged an integrated e-Waybill portal, and they have coined this something called INV 01 was there in the law from the beginning, and the GSTN has beautifully used this. And by virtue of notification 68/2019, they have amended Rule 48 and inserted 3 sub-rules in Rule 48. We know 46 is the tax invoice, contents of an invoice. 48 is the manner in which the invoice has to be issued to the customer, wherein it says original to the buyer, duplicate to the transporter, triplicate to yourself. This rule is now saying if e-invoice is applicable to you, you have to issue Form GST IN1. And if you are issuing any document other than this, it is not a valid document. They have also said that this multiple copies, original, duplicate, triplicate, is not required after the e-invoice coming in. There are some questions. I'll take the questions which have come to my personal chat little later. No problem. The next thing is, where should I generate this e-invoice? The e-invoice has to be generated in a common portal which is issued by the government. The common portal for e-invoice is einvoice1.gst.gov.in. For your regular filing, you are going to gst.gov.in. But for e-invoice, you will be going to e-invoice 1. Like e-invoice 1, there will be invoice 2, 3, 4. There will be 10 different common portals that are going to come up. In fact, there are 5 more new IRPs who are onboarded. So they are going to come very soon. The 5 IRPs who are onboarded who are going to come very soon. Now, the government also said that this is applicable only for B2B transaction. And what should be the content of the invoice? They have given a schema. I'll walk you through the schema also. Please pay attention to this slide. Most of the people have questions on this slide, because once you go live, people are going to ask you about what, when, how, either for your clients or your organization. It could be anything. The 2 questions, one I can see, Mukesh is asking, should the invoice be raised every day? Can we raise all in 1 month? It has to be raised every day. It's like Mukesh, it has to be the same moment. Vasudevan is asking, an entity exceeding 20 crores in retail trading made a single B2B invoice applicable? Yes. Surya Prakash is asking, will e-invoicing solution enable straight-through processing with buyers AP systems and AR systems, and also easily integrate with current workflow systems without requiring replacement of existing financial functionality? Answer is a clear no at this point, but the ecosystem is evolving. We are moving into a digital era. Harshit, can we generate invoice for exports on a monthly basis? Yes. Naveen is saying in case of services, what is the time limit? Okay, I'll come to all that. Sony, to your question, B2C e-invoice, let's look at this. Wherever you are seeing a green color in this, e-invoice is applicable. That means e-invoice is applicable for an invoice or credit note, debit note given to such invoice. It is also applicable for made to business or business to government or exports. It is not applicable in case of exempt supply where you are issuing bill of supply, delivery challan where you are moving goods from one place to other place of your own branches, or you are sending it on sale or approval basis, whatever, or an ISD invoice. It is again not applicable if you are making a supply to an unregistered person or you are importing goods or raising a self-tax invoice. Please look at this combination very carefully. E-invoice is applicable in this scenario. E-invoice is not applicable in these scenarios. There are chances that the combinations can also happen. Let's look at what is the combination. You are doing a tax invoice here, which means the taxable supply. You are making a taxable supply to an unregistered person. E-invoice is not applicable in this scenario. Let's say you are making an exempt supply to a registered person. You are a registered person, supplier is registered, buyer is registered, but you are making an exempt supply, bill of supply. Again, e-invoice is not applicable. For e-invoice to be applicable, it has to be these documents originated or supplied to these taxpayer recipients. It is B2B, B2G, or exports. Now, if this is confusing, let's look at in a simple thumb rule way. In GSTR1, wherever you are doing a line-wise data entry, e-invoice is applicable there. Wherever you are doing a data entry in bulk, which is your table 7 and table 8, e-invoice is not applicable. Let's look at some questions. Exempt supply invoice is applicable? Answer is no. For Mukesh is asking exporters. Yes, it is applicable. Anand is asking, is it applicable for job work? Job worker, if its turnover exceeding 10 crores, service charge invoice is applicable. Material moving to job work is using delivery challan, so invoice is not applicable. Yashvardhan is asking, debit note on purchase, such as discount given by the supplier, is e-invoicing required and also should be linked with the original invoice. Yashvardhan, linking of the debit note and credit note with the original invoice has been taken out. Whether e-invoice is applicable for SEZ, Soumya, I will be coming back to SEZ in a while. Sai Teja is asking, for branch transfer, is e-invoice applicable? No, for branch transfers, e-invoice is not applicable if they are moving with the delivery challan. If the branch transfers are happening from one state to another state, under schedule 1 transaction where you are raising a tax invoice, e-invoice is applicable. So again, Nagaratinam inter-unit transfer or branch transfer is the same. Within the state, within the branches, under same GST, you are moving delivery challan, so no e-invoice. Other than delivery challan, e-invoice is applicable. Is e-invoice applicable for services? Yes. All right. Any questions to the participants? Is this slide clear to you? Export of services, export of goods, e-invoice is applicable. What about e-invoicing for debit note, credit note in case of B2B? Meenakshi, yes, for debit note, credit note also e-invoice is applicable. And don't worry of how to generate all those things. We'll see everything in a while. If we get the concept clear, anything can be easily handled. Okay, is this slide clear to you all? If yes, please put it as yes in the chat. If no, put it your question. Perfect. In GSTR1, how to show the exempted goods. Table 8, Srinivas, there you have to show the exempted goods. Exempted goods required to generate E-invoice. Amaresh, no. Exempted goods, you will issue bill of supply, so no E-invoice. B2C and B2B sales is more than 10 crores. E-invoice is applicable? Yes. RSS was sales. All right. Now, let's move to the next slide. Certain people have been exempted from generating an e-invoice. See, already by virtue of rule 54, sub rule 2, 3, and 4, there's an exemption which is already given to issue a tax invoice. That exemption has been extended for the e-invoice also. Who are they? NBFCs, insurance companies, or goods transport agency, passenger transport agency, or admission to cinematographic film. In these cases, Rule 46 is relaxed. The same is applicable to e-invoice also. One addition to this list is the SCZ. If you are an SCZ, e-invoice is not applicable. If you are supplying to an SCZ, e-invoice is applicable. Supplied by an SCZ, e-invoice is not applicable. Supplied to an SCZ, e-invoice is applicable. Where do I generate e-invoice? So the government has enabled a trial site and the live site. Now people were confused with the trial and live, so they recently made the trial site not applicable so that they continue only on the live site. But however, they have given a testing. They have given a test bed called API Sandbox for you to test how e-invoice is functioning so that you can configure your ERP system. Today, I'm going to show a live demo of how to do e-invoice. Of course, I'll use Sandbox because it is like live. If I do a real thing, it would be affecting my books of accounts, turnover, and all the places. They have also given other tools. Wherein who are the people who are generating e-invoice? Is e-invoice enabled for you or not? What is the status of other people? If someone is giving you a signed invoice, can I verify the signed invoice? All those tools have been given on the portal. You can go log in and use them. Okay. This is a schematic view of how e-invoice would look like and how e-invoice would function. I've just changed it and made it into a simple way where you can understand. In a normal course, as a supplier, you will generate an invoice and issue to the customer. Now the government is saying that, okay, before you issue the invoice to the customer, connect this data to the GSTN system through various registers. Each registrar will connect this data back to the government portal. If you want the Evabel, he will do the Evabel. Else he will push the data to GSTR1. How? On a real-time basis, the recipient will also know that this credit is valid. So with the e-invoice, your trust against the supplier. So your vendor will be issuing an e-invoice to you. Your confidence on that vendor will go up because this information is reported onto the government portal. So the government would definitely is like watching you. So if you look at it, your GST collections is going up slowly month over month. because of the transparency into the system. They have also brought the invoice-based financing. Some bankers are already working on how to do the lending of the transactions. The transaction posting into the books of accounts is going to be automatic, seamless through the APIs that they have shared with us. This is all about E-Invoice. Now let us understand some technical terms. What are that? There are three important aspects in an E-Invoice one should definitely be knowing. There are three important aspects one should be knowing about E-Invoice. Shanmukha sir, our session is till 7 o'clock, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. First and foremost thing is IRN. IRN is a 64-digit alphanumeric number, uniquely identifying the invoice. And please note, this is for computers and not human beings. If I ask you your 13-digit bank account number, you will not remember. What will I do with this 64-digit number for so many invoices? But it is just that if you don't have this, you have not done the e-invoice. So, basis combination of these four items: GST number, financial year, the document type, and the document number. A basis combination of this, a 64-digit. What you are seeing is a live real IRN. Now, why is this required? It is required for its internal processing. So IRN is a 64-digit number. The next thing is IRP. Whether this is the key man in the whole of the e-invoice process. He is the person who is doing the e-invoice for you. He takes the data which you are uploading in the form of JSON. He validates, first checks whether there is a duplicate invoice or this is the original invoice. If everything is perfect, he makes an entry in his records and gives you back a digitally signed QR code. If you want an Evabel, he connects to the Evabel and he will generate an Evabel for you. If once this is done, he will also connect to the government common portal and he will update the GST R1. In your R1, the sales is updated. All this work is done by IRP. So your job is, before you issue the invoice to the customer, you've got to send it to the government portal, get an acknowledgement, a seal of it, a Chapa digital seal called IRN and the QR code, then you issue the invoice. So is there a change in the invoicing process? No. All that the government is saying that, like before you give it to the customer, you'll get a signature from the authorized signatory. Likewise, get a signature from me that this is the invoice that you are issuing. The government is saying that report to me on a real-time basis. Now you may say that government doesn't have any other work. They are poking into my day-to-day business and they are applying a brake and slowing down the process. Don't worry. IRP is not going to check the accuracy of your invoice. He is not going to say that you are using HSN 6803 for computers as against 8903. He is not going to say that you are charging 1 crore rupee for computer while it was only 1 lakh. He is not going to ask that the GST rate is 18% while you are charging 5%, why it is low. IRP is not going to do that. He gets an invoice, he just puts a seal and gives it back to you. How much time you think he will do it? In nanoseconds. It is like at a blink of an eye. That's the time it will take to process the document and give it back to you. And he retains the invoices only for a period of 24 hours. After that, all the invoices will be purged from his system. There will not be a trail of any invoice in his system. He is not going to do any mailing services. He is not going to come back when you come back to him and say that, hey, I lost my invoices, but I have shared with you in the past. Can you give me a copy? He will say, okay, I don't know who you are because I don't have the data of yours with me. That's what he's going to say. What does he give? He gives you back a response. And if it is success, the response could be 1. If it is a failure, the response status could be 0. He will be giving it back with the acknowledgement number, which we are going to see, acknowledgement date, IRN, the signed invoice, and the signed QR code. This is what he is going to give it back in the response to the data that you have submitted. If you want to see how the response, it would be something like this. And this is all a JSON encrypted language. To understand this, you need to have a decryption key. You need to understand a decryption key. The decryption key, when you apply this junk, what you are seeing, the signed invoice, this junk, all this junk can be decoded as the name of the person, invoice, all these things. So there are tools that are available which can help to decrypt it. And there is a public key which is allowed. You don't need to know the technicals. Wherever the technical things are coming, I'm just giving you as an only information. It also has a QR code. What is this QR code? QR code is a high-level information about the invoice. The content of the QR code, if you actually notice in my earlier slide, I said the QR code is approximately some 1,000 characters, right? It is approximately 1,000 characters. Whether an L&T is generating an invoice with all the turnkey project items or everything, or one person is selling one iPhone, or someone is selling one dosa in a KOD. In all these cases, the QR code is going to become a small information. What is the QR code will be having? It is going to have a high level information about the document. What is the high level information? Who is the seller? Who is the buyer? What is the invoice number, date, and the invoice value? How many line items are there in it, and what is the HSM? And what is the IRN of this? So if like a CEO of an organization just looking at an invoice is only looking at a high level parameters. It is like that. QR code is going to have high level parameters. So now the ask of the requirement of the law is put this QR code, print it in the invoice and give it. So the invoice which you are giving it, you got to print it and give. And by the way, this is a real QR code. If you have your camera phone with you, iPhone with you, or some phone with you, you can just get the camera exactly in front of this and try scanning it. You will get the QR code value. And for some of you, if you are thinking that you are not getting the value which is there on the left side, I will tell you why. Because what you have is encrypted QR code. I'll show you how do we decrypt all those things. You will see. All right, some questions. Before we look at the questions, let's see if you have any questions. Someone is saying I'm not getting audio, video is clear. Mohan, please check the voices.
It's clear out.
Yeah.
It may be their internet might not be.
How will we check duplication as he is not showing? Because he only has the entry in his registry, he is having that number. So when you try to apply the hash SHA-256 algorithm for the same invoice number, the IRN is going to be the same. So duplication will automatically be known. Shankar Murthy, is it a mere CHAPA? System will intend to link with the future returns to be filed by SSC. So Shankar Murthy, it is actually IRN's job is only a CHAPA. He is further onboarding this data to GSTN systems and he is washing off. So IRP is not going to do anything else. How do we resolve issues if error comes? Again, while we are generating invoices from Tally, we will generate invoices with errors and we will see how to resolve those errors. In case E-Invoice is effective from 1st October 22, whether pro forma or post-date invoice will be enabled. There is no question of pro forma or post-dated invoices. Invoices always have to be the current dated. Whether they have to generate E-Invoice on a daily basis, E-Invoice as and when, currently how we are issuing the invoices to the customer, at what time, the same time. In case invoice date is 30th September, but we are sending goods on 5th October, can the E-Invoice be valid? You can generate, we are going to see that today. What if all invoice generated once in full year? One of our clients did that and portal allowed. Yes, backdated allows. For pro forma invoice, is E-Invoice required? No, it is not required. While generating invoice on dated 30th, yeah, we have seen this. If the accuracy is not important, how can they see high level data for that company that is correct or not? Divya, the objective of the invoice is not to check whether you have done the invoice correct or not. For a laptop, instead of selling 1 lakh, you put it as the in between the dot missed out, it became 1 crore. IRP is not going to say, hey, look, you made an error. If the invoice is cancelled within 24 hours, what status IRP sends? Yeah, Sundar Vadwell, the invoice is cancelled, the IRP is going to send the status of the invoice. Instead of ACT, the status is going to become CAN, which will indicate that it is a cancelled document. If the registered taxpayer as a hospital, those who have in-house pharmacy, the business will be to consumers, will invoice applicable. Yukesh, I think you missed the initial part, invoice not applicable in a sale to B2C. How do we generate offline JSON file which got deleted inadvertently? Nayan, you can download the offline JSON file, Excel file, and create your JSON again. But today we are only going to show you how to do it from Tally. Failure to generate E-Invoice, what is the penalty? Again, multiple penalties. Section 122, the 25,000, 25,000. Second, recipient may be denied of input tax credit because Rule 48 sub Rule 5 says if you are issuing a document other than INV1, it is not a valid document. And if that is not a valid document, the tax officer may say to the recipient that, okay, under Rule 36 sub Rule 2, this doesn't fit in and I will disallow the credit. Chances of that are there. So that is the risk. Should we give invoice to the customer? Of course, Shweta, you should give invoice to the customer. Rule 48 sub rule, or again read with 4, 5, 6. So it says if you're issuing anything other than INV1, it is not a valid document. If we modify an invoice, will the date change to the modified date? Unfortunately, there is no concept of modification in an invoice. Once the invoice is generated, not even a dot, comma, you cannot enter or edit it. Is invoice applicable for ISD transaction? No, only for cross charge, yes, but not for ISD. Anand, how to generate e-invoice where material will be sent to a parcel where vehicle number will change. E-invoice and Evabel is independent. There's no connection, Anand. All right, I have some more questions. You know, whatever the questions which you have asked, I have listed it. When should I generate an invoice? What should I issue to the customer? What should be the contents in my printout? Should I sign it? All these things. Let us take everything one by one. I'll start with Evabel. First and foremost, is Evabel applicable after e-invoice? Let me look at the answers. So the question to everyone, I am doing e-invoice. Is Evabel still applicable to me if I do e-invoice? So there are two transactions, one transaction with e-invoice, another without e-invoice. So my question is the transaction where I am doing e-invoice, is Evabel applicable? If you feel yes, put it as yes. If you feel no, put it as no. Well, no one is watching you, no marks. So you can just write yes or a no. And India is a democratic country. Majority wins. So if majority of people are saying yes, you should also put it as yes. So you are following with the junta. And you will also become right 1 point. Okay. So Shri, unfortunately, E-Invoice and E-Waybill are governed by two different rules. Rule 48 talks about E-Invoice. Rule 138 talks about E-Waybill. So whether E-Invoice applicable or not, whether E-Waybill applicable or not is independently to be tested. I am making a registered person to registered person supply. Value of supply 10,000. E-invoice applicable? Yes. E-Waybill applicable? No. I am making a supply to an unregistered person, let's say value 75,000. E-invoice applicable? No, because it's an unregistered person. E-Waybill applicable? Yes, because the value more than 50,000. So both are two different provisions, both have to be seen independently. Next question is, can I generate Evabel along with the invoice? The portal gives you permission. We will today, while I generate the e-invoice, I'll also show in the tally how do we generate the Evabel simultaneously, even that can be done. And there is an option that you can generate Evabel at a later point also, saying that, okay, you are ready with the e-invoice, you will be generating Evabel later. Yes, we can do that option also. Is e-invoice can be generated where where it is not applicable, B2C or exemption with the system alone? No. If you are making a B2C, e-invoice cannot be generated, system will not allow. What are the documents I have to print on the invoice after the e-invoice? You got to print the QR code. The QR code is required to be printed. And the officer who is intercepting the vehicle, he has an option to digitally scan that, and he will see whether the e-invoice Evabel is done or not. How do I send the invoices to the recipient? However, currently you are sending, you will be sending it. IRP is not going to do this job for you. He is not going to become your email service provider or the data storage service provider. Of course, government is still working on building a system to send the invoices directly to the recipient. Okay. IRP response. The response that I get from the IRP, what should I store everything in my system? Yes, you should store all the response that you're getting from the IRP into the system. Because tomorrow when a proper officer is coming to your office and say, have you done the e-invoice? You need to have the IRN and the other details saved in the voucher to say, yes, the e-invoicing has been done. And Tally has the provision to store this information so that to say e-invoicing has been done. Until what time I can do an e-invoice? Currently, there is no provision to state that the e-invoice has to be generated within this so and so time. Today, we are on 27th September. I can generate an e-invoice dated 15th September, 1st September, 1st August, or April this year. Portal permits you to do it. But ideally, currently they are permitting so that the people who are there from the earlier period to adopt into the system, they are doing it. Otherwise, it is recommended that you do the e-invoice at the earliest possible. Can the e-invoice be cancelled? Yes, it can be cancelled within what time? Within 24 hours of generation. Can I modify it? No, you can't modify it. Once generated, not even a full stop dot. Okay, I will cancel it. I will make some corrections and regenerate. Possible? No. same invoice numbers after cancellation, you cannot use it. You cannot reuse it. You cannot recycle your invoices. So once cancelled, your invoice number cannot be used back again. How do I handle mistakes? What kind of mistakes? My mistake, I generated it. Okay, cancel it. 24 hours time for oh, it's like lapse. My internal auditor found it after 15 days. What do I do? Don't worry. Firstly, cancel it in your books of accounts. Do not report it in your GST system because you haven't even made a supply. So erroneously, while doing some testing, invoice got generated. It's okay. You can cancel it. Yeah. So let's look at the last part of the session is understanding the schema before we go live using generating through Tally. Any questions to anyone? The questions which I'm seeing here, firstly from Narni Durga, what if the invoice is generated is not served to the customer but retained with us? Narni, you're not issuing a valid invoice. Whether invoice can be generated, not applicable, we have seen that. In case where Evabel due to value is not required, can we bulk submit the invoices for generation, say once in a week? No. Because E-invoice has to be done at the same point in time. In security services, when there are frequent change in the bill over months, so we need to modify as soon as it possible in the E-invoice. There is no question of modification, Shweta. You can give a pro forma invoice, get the approval done, and you can do the final invoice. Anyhow, services gets this from the date of provision of services. Section 13 of the Act permits you to raise an invoice within 30 days. Section 13 read with 31. For exports, should the value be INR only? Yes, the value should only be INR. Meenakshi, can you please explain the invoices after 24 hours again? Yes, Meenakshi. So if you are unable to cancel the invoice within 24 hours and you think it is an invoice generated by mistake, this data has already gone to the GSTR1. In GSTR1, delete this, do not report this invoice and cancel it in your books of accounts. Subbarao, for export of services, E-invoice applicable? Yes, sir, it is applicable. Veera Burdan, Guruswamy, X company is generating fortnight basis. If the second fortnight dated 30th September E-invoice to be raised, yes, the date of invoice matters. Between 16th to 30th September, the work done. If you are raising the invoice on the 2nd, 3rd September, October, E-invoice is applicable. All right. Let's move to understanding schema. Let me see if there are any questions not answered. Okay, looks like all the questions have been answered. We can go to the understanding schema. So schema is a beautifully defined document. E-invoice has been developed by GST in partnership with ICAI, except some 2-3 needed for the tweaking. There was not a need for any changes in the schema. Maybe we will wait to see the schema change later, but 3 years passed, no change in the schema. All right, so the schema has various sections. Instead of reading all these sections, let me just give you the sections. There are totally 16 sections, 5 mandatory, 11 optional, with 16 sections with 133 fields. Notification 60/2020 talks about schema and which has a cardinality. So every item in the schema either starts with 1 or 0, and every item ends with either 1 or an n. Anything starting with 1, it means it is a mandatory section. Anything starting with 0, it is an optional section or an optional field. Anything ending with 1, it means it is single occurrence. Anything ending with n, it has multiple occurrences. Like as you drive the car, you don't need to know how the wheel works or the engine works. You press a rod, it moves. You press a rod, it stops. That's all you need to know. So, like if you see a physical invoice, in the physical invoice, what you are seeing, the different buckets, the brackets, which are in red color, these are mandatory sections. These are mandatory sections. Those which are in blue color and other color, these are optional sections. These are optional sections. So if you want, you can use it. If there's no data, you can ignore it, right? And like line items, you can have multiple items. Minimum there can be one line item. So the schema or cardinality of this will be 1.n, right? Like that, the schema has been defined. Again, very beautifully, easily understandable way the schema has been designed by the GSTM. After filling all this, you will issue an invoice with a QR code in it. So this QR code embedded in the invoice, where do I place? Wherever you want, you can place. There's no mandatory that it has to be here. You place. So if you see this format, the whole content and format of it, it is not a standard invoice. It's some sample invoice. So you generate your invoice, place your QR code wherever it is possible. Now let's look at generating E-invoice. So let's look at the practical side of the E-invoice. Any questions to anyone before I go to the practical side? Sundar Vadvel, please share the previous slide. I don't know which slide you're talking. Which ERP is the best one for creating E-invoice? Whichever is the accounting software. Today we are seeing the demo from the Tally. In fact, we have expert from Tally, Shanmukha sir is here. Any question you have, you can ask. Invoice format template. Yeah, this is one sample template. Very well. I'm going to show you a live template from the Tally itself. Which option to nullify a wrong invoice after 24 credit note or non-declaration in the return? Narini Durga, I don't think credit note is the right option because credit note has to fulfill section 34 and I should have made a supply and the supply is cancelled, but I haven't even made a supply. Why should I issue a credit note? Venugopal is asking how many line items that can be there in invoice? As of now, the schema is set for 1,000 line items. So after 1,000 line items, if you really issue, you can directly connect to NIC, they have a solution. Now generating an invoice. Government has given already multiple tools and 4 different formats, A, B, C, D version of Excel basis the type of transaction. You generate a JSON and upload it manually. They are also given a Japan generation of E and processing of E-invoice, one tool. Then the best thing is the ERPs, who like our Tally Prime, they have a direct data integration. So you do a data entry in the Tally, press of a button, E-invoice gets generated. Then ASPs have, if you have customized different software, there are different things. Japan is a web application. It can be operated through mobile also. They have also created a simple user entry form for entering the invoice data. You can enter it offline also and you press a button, submit later. It also has a feature to do some basic validation like totals, putting the correct rate of tax, etc. And on a click of a button, you can generate invoice, you can print invoice, you can cancel the invoice. So this is a feature where someone do not use the accounting software. Now those who are using an accounting software and accounting software synonym is Tally. If they are using accounting software, let us see how the invoice has to be done. As I said, the ERPs are connected through directly to the government portal. So you got to create an account in the government portal first. So I am showing you an account creation in the sandbox. Let me go to the sandbox. So, sorry, I haven't shared this with you. So when I click on this, I've shared different URLs. When I click on that, it will take us to this sandbox. Let me just go back to the home page. If you have a registration, you can enter the credentials and login. First time user, you click here and register. First time users, you click here and register. You will be registering as a taxpayer, like you will be entering. So automatically your details will be coming. You got to enter your registered mobile number, registered email ID, and the captcha. You got to enter the information which is there on the government portal. You have to enter it. Why? They don't want anyone to register on your behalf and create an invoice. First, you have to validate that it is you to create an account. So once I create an account, once I enter a valid information, I click on this information, I say.
Venu sir, your screen is not visible. Yeah, now it's okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me just come back. I don't know from where it was not visible. So first you have to click on register here. And once you click, it will bring you to this form. You enter your GST number. So it will say, okay, this is the person. It will ask you to enter your mobile number, email ID. And once you enter and click on this validate button, it will send you the OTP and you validate button. Then you will come to this screen where you will be now permitted to do the entry of the username password. You will go ahead and create a username password. Once you create a username password, you got to configure in your Tally Prime. Let me actually take through in some screenshot. Let me take to the Tally Prime. First and foremost, to generate an e-invoice through Tally, you got to have a valid THS license. So your Tally subscription should be active, and more so, it works only in Tally Prime and not ERP9. So I created a test data. Okay. For any basic configurations of the Tally to have the statutory masters enabled, you should have activated the country, because like Tally is globally present in the company master. You should always state your country and the state, only then the statutory masters get activated. Once this is done, in your F11, and the gateway of Tally, where you will be doing a data entry, you can enable GST as yes. You enable GST as yes, and in the data, you please enter your GST number. You enter your GST number, and on the Evabel and E-Invoice features, you got to state that yes, e-invoicing is applicable to me. You have to enter it as yes. The basic configurations. Okay. Now today, since I'm going to do a demo, what I have done is I have created a a demo account, not a live account, so that they do testing. So I would suggest you create a demo account. Where do you do? In your tally on your right side, more details, you can actually, the tally screen generally is condensed. You should press show more, and even show more also it is condensed. Some are inactive. You can show inactive, then it will show all the other things. So I have set as enable sandbox as yes in it. So when I say enable sandbox, yes, whenever I'm doing a data entry in Tally, my data is connected to the sandbox. What is sandbox? I have set two things. One is a live server and one is the demo server. So Tally is now connecting to the demo server to generate the multiple invoices. So we will create multiple scenarios, multiple incidences. For you to post a sales entry, you need to have a customer. So in my voucher entry, I'm going to the sales, and when party is not there, Alt C directly goes to the creation sales screen and do. I'm just selecting one party, and some information I just intentionally miss it and try generating e-invoice. So address I'm not here entering here because it is, by the way, it is important, but still I'm not entering. In fact, the best thing is here, if I enter the address details in my login, it is not going to ask, it is going to take it from here. But I want to show you some error things, how to correct all those errors. You will see that. So I'm just entering one sales invoice and some items. Let's say I am selling the pen, 15 items, I am selling it, and again, the best test for the configuration correctness, the moment you select the tax ledgers, is the tax computation coming automatically? If yes, then the ledger is properly configured. Okay. I need to get the credentials. So provide e-invoice. It is asking, do you want to do e-invoice? Yes. Bill to ship to is Bangalore, and I am saying yes. Test invoice for demo. Please look at the invoice number 11. And let us say that we generate this invoice on 21st September. Okay. Generating this invoice on 21st September. So we are today on 27th September. We're doing a backdated transaction. I'm trying to save the invoice. It is asking, do you want to generate e-invoice? I'm saying yes. And mandatory information for it is not specified. So I said I did not provide the address details. How do I go and edit? So you might be thinking that the invoice is lost. Don't worry. You can now go on the top of it. You can see this exchange. On the top of the screen exchange, you can see send data for invoicing. Between 19th September to 25th September for e-invoice, you have, it is giving you, there is one record. You can see here, there is one record, but there is some missing information. The valid information is not there. So I will not be able to generate. So what is the valid information? It says buyer bill to address is not specified. Like in the invoice I've shown, the address of the buyer itself is not specified. So it is bill to address, it is Bangalore. Okay, so now it says invoice is ready for generating. I will now select this. Okay, you can see here it says for IRN generation 21st September. There is one invoice, voucher number 117710. Let me just open. Let me just print this and show you, by the way. Print this preview. So you can see this is the normal invoice. There's no e-invoice, then nothing is there. Yeah. So let me do the e-invoice now. So I'm selecting this and say send. Do you want to send? Yes. But where do you send? Where is the address? That is the username password which has been created. So let me enter those username password. Username is entered. Password is very simple to remember, some 11 stars. Enter. Yeah, so now it says exchanging the information with the E-Invoice sandbox. Good part of it, you need to enter the username password only once. Till the tally session is live, you don't need to enter the username password. It will automatically take it. It says E-Invoice generated. One, very good. Let's go and see that invoice in my day book, 28th September. Let me now print this invoice. Can you preview and see it? Perfect. Now you can see you have a QR code. Again, those you want to scan it, you can actually use your mobiles and scan this. It will definitely give you a junk. But now you can see invoice date is 21st September. It has generated e-invoice on 27th September. So it has given some acknowledgement date and acknowledgement. Of course, IRN is not mandatory to be printed, but what is mandatory to be printed on the invoice is a QR code. People ask this question, should I need to print it and physically sign or digitally sign? Currently, how you are doing, you have to continue this. All this you did is before you giving it to the customer, you went to the government, got this chapter. What is this chapter? This on the screen that you are seeing, the digital, the QR code which you are seeing on the screen, that is the chapter that you have collected from the government. Now let us try different combinations of the transaction. Let us also explore, can I do the invoicing in bulk? Yeah. So, and first and foremost, in your e-invoicing, you also have a lot of help tools. If you don't know the state code, if you don't know the HSN, you can check all of them. Let's say I want to select one HSN. So it gives me all the HSNs that exist, right? So let us start making mistakes, okay? And let us first create, there is only one invoice. So on 22nd September, I will create 5 invoices. 5 in a go, we will do e-invoicing. Yeah. So, and by the way, favorite feature of the tally, everyone accountant's favorite feature, you know, for them to do the data entry, they will use Alt+2, and they change the date, they change the party name, they change the item, they change the quantity, they change the amount, they change the narration. But how to create a transaction, Alt+2, you know? So no problem. Let me go to 22nd September. Okay, cash B2C tally itself doesn't show, there's no point in showing that error. Let me pick something which is a wrong GST number. So I'm making one sale to a wrong GST number. Correct item I'm selling. Do you want generate invoice? Right now I'll say no, but you have an option to press yes, immediately invoice gets generated. Okay. Then let me create a invoice for tomorrow's date, 28th September. So we have created one invoice for wrong GST number. This is for future date. Then let us create one more invoice with pencil. Let me alter the HSN of this pencil. I'm supplying goods, altering the HSN. Let's say the HSN that we have is 1401, right? I will make this as 1401 instead of 3 zeros. I will put it as 456. Yeah. So we have a wrong HSN. In midst of it, let me do one correct transaction also. So, okay, this the wrong HSN, we will put it as a correct date. We'll put it to 26 September. Don't want generating. Then on today's date, 27th September, I am doing one transaction with a correct value. So now I have 4 transactions where we have to do E-invoice. 22nd September, wrong GST number. 26th September is the wrong HSN code. 27th September, which is current date, is the correct value E-invoice can be generated. 28th September is the future date. So let's now go to my, again, I could have done at the time of generation. I'm now doing it here. Send for E-invoice. The transactions, you can see it is 26 September to 28 September. So I'll say E-invoice. There is some missing information. I should have given the please make sure you make your party masters correct so that you don't need to get into this problem. So it is saying for IRN generation, there are 3. So I'll put 21st September to 28th September. Yeah. So there are information required for one, it is not provided. Bill to ship to, I'll put the same bill to ship to. So the data which is available for invoice generation, we have now 4 records for IRN generation from this date. Yeah. Now let us generate. Yeah, you can see there are 4 records that are available. I can select only 1, 2 records and I can send a button. I can press Control space bar, select all this. If you have a maker checker concept in your organization, someone is doing the data entry, someone is approving it. So you can do all this. So out of these 4, 3 has to fail, 1 will have to go through. And we need to also know why this has gone error, how do we correct it, all those things. Let us see. So I'm just hitting this button send. Do you want to continue? Yes. Did it ask username password? No, because I have already entered, so the system knows the username password. So it will connect in the backend and it will do. So E-invoice document rejected for 1. Right, let's look at What is the document which is rejected? Data exchange. Invoice generated 2. I think maybe the HSN could have been correct. I don't know that HSN thing. Don't worry, we can give. So here it says the document date is future date. Okay. Now I will correct the document to the current date, and this HSN will purposely give some wrong HSN. I make the document to 27th September, and let me change the HSN 99888888. Okay. So the voucher was rejected. Do you still want to send the voucher for generation invoice? Now I'm generating directly from the voucher. So I have a change. Again, the document has been rejected. So it says refer the E-Invoice report for the more. Now it says reason for rejection. You can see it is saying invalid HSN. So by the way, sometimes we make those errors. It is also very important. Maybe that HSN would have been valid. I didn't check the further digits that are there. So it's saying the invalid HSN. So here I will correct the HSN. So the future date it gave error, the wrong HSN it gave error. So I'm just correcting, I'm picking some HSN. And by the way, you can see the description is pen, but the HSN is of some material. It really doesn't care. And maybe the rate of tax for this could be 0 also. It really doesn't care. Even if I put the rate of tax as 18%, system will really not care. The tax gets automatically changed and generate an e-invoice. I said yes. So it is exchanging and e-invoice generated successfully. So that's how the system works. Yeah. So and when you print the invoice, you can see the invoice with the QR code on top of it. So the system, everything has been beautifully taken care by the Tally. Shanmukha sir, is there anything else that I have missed in explaining about the invoice generating through Tally, sir?
No, sir, you have covered everything. Just show the report once, sir. Like E-Invoice report. Go to one report.
Oh, from go to, okay. So by the way, with the Tally Prime, everyone should be, this is the mostly used. So go to, so you can use Control G. So which is for switching from one screen to other screen or directly going to one report directly. So in your GST reports, E-Invoice reports, you can directly, given this period to this period, it will automatically show you how many have been generated. So for IRN generation, there is pending for the system is 1. And after I enter the invoice, you can see on the, I have modified, no, the system is expected to be sacrosanct. So if I made any change, it says voucher information mismatch. These are with the QR code. So it really will not know what are the changes, but it will say, unless otherwise the auditor version is enabled, it will say this voucher has been modified after the invoice is generated. And these are the list of invoices generated for a given period. So it will be giving. So you also have an IRN register. Invoice wise, you will be getting as your IRN register for your information. And you can get the IRN information for a selected voucher. It may so happen that you want to fetch the information, like you have done it offline, the data got changed, you want to fetch it, you can get the information. However, you can only get for the current within 24 hours period, you can get the IRN information. Maybe you have used offline tool to generate and you can get that. Yeah. ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇದೆಯಾ ಸರ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ?
Sir, yes, sir, you have covered it. I would like to just add few points.
Yes, sir. You can
Because
share
I
that.
get a lot of calls from customer. I would like to just cover some tips. The first thing is, sir, many customers ask, so can I cancel the invoice? So thing is, amend the invoice. Sorry, when I generate the invoice, can I just go and modify the invoice? So once you generate the invoice, you cannot actually amend the invoice. The only option is to cancel. And
The cancellation also, let us show it here.
yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So cancellation people also ask. Cancellation is very simple. These are in my IRN register. I select the invoice. I press this button. Cancel IRN is like I'll see the data entry mistake and cancel it. So I say, boom, the invoice gone. Can I cancel the old invoice? Let's say invoice which is the 2nd September. I will say cancel this IRN. This was a duplicate invoice. And I have one for IRN generation. There are 2 invoices I have marked for the cancellation. So let me cancel these 2 invoices. Yeah. So for IRN cancellation from 1st September to today, you can see there are 1 invoice, 1 old one for generation and 2 for cancellation. I am sending to the portal, and first one is generation, it will get generated. Then 2 documents have been mentioned for E-invoice cancellation. One record gets cancelled because it is generated today, it is there with the government portal. The other record cannot get cancelled because the data is not with the government portal. So it has only 1 invoice got rejected. 2 documents have been cancelled by the system. So you can see why it got cancelled. It says the cancel remark, you are cancelling 2nd September. That is why I am unable to cancel. Here I am trying to generate an IRN for the same invoice which has already been generated. So duplicate IRN is not permitted. So this is how the system has been designed. And in the tally, all the reasons have been captured, which is in a more self-explanatory way.
Yes, sir. One more thing I would like to advise the people who are using Tally for e-invoicing. I have seen many customers, what they do is they play with the data. Playing with data means what? They go and insert some transactions in between, and they go and delete some transactions. This is very, very dangerous if you're using auto invoice numbering in Tally. So what happens is, for example, let's say today we are on 27th September and you have generated the e-invoice. And for some reason you go to some 22nd and you insert a invoice. What happens if, since you are using the auto numbering, the invoice numbering will change for all the invoices which are created after that. So because of that, there is a chance of losing the e-invoice information. So their QR code and IRN number will go off out of this thing. So do not do these 2 activities of inserting and deleting the invoices for which you already generated the e-invoicing. Yes, sir. This is what actually I wanted to share.
Right. So just as a recap on the configuration to Tally pen, because this is very important. I'll just show you the screens. Firstly, enable the state code, enable the GST number. And if you are trying, I would request everyone do one demo setup, do a trial. Once the trial is done, you disable the sandbox, go live. Please note, sandbox is demo. You enable. That is why Tally has been taken utmost care so that you do a lot of effort to get the sandbox. Yeah, but I've shown you how to get the sandbox. Once you enable it, you will be able to do it. Yes, so we have come to the end of the session. Yes, we have sufficient time to take the Q&A. And let's look at the questions. And
Yeah,
feel
two
free
more
to
points
write in.
I would like to add, sir, before the question. So one is, sir has actually explained about the API. So to generate the e-invoice, you require to go through GSP. So Tally itself, it's a GSP. So we are not actually charging any additional charges for that. So that comes free if you have a valid TSS for your Tally license. So customers who are using Tally, and if their TSS is expired, to use the e-invoicing, you need to renew the TSS, and you should put the latest version of Tally. So that is the prerequisite you should follow. Thanks, sir. You can proceed with the Q&A.
Yeah. Participants, any questions? Vishwanath, give a demo on how to generate invoice from different cost centers. Vishwanath, as of now, Tally gives the basic information that is required for generating invoice. Internally, you might have any information. You might have created an add-on to capture the salesman, your locations, cost centers, your go downs, all those things. They are not much required for the invoice. So the data will be whatever is required for the invoice, it would be captured and sent to the government portal. So you don't need to worry, it gets generated automatically. If you forgot to put a reason for canceling, where do we need to resolve that? Umesh Chandra, while you give cancel, it will do it. Please show Z exchange tab details. Sundar Vadivel, open your Tally, just click on that. You will find Tally e-invoice in that. All right. Client have branch and it show both using Tally Prime. In such case, how it works? Yeah, again in branch office, you need to have this configuration. Head office, you need to have the configuration. Due care you have to take care is head office should have different invoice series. Branch should have different invoice series. Well, department cross verify GST returns with IRM generator. They have the access, they can do anything. Office JSON file generator from Tally is deleted. How to retrieve from the same? I don't think it is possible to delete deleted data in Tally to retrieve from the government portal. I don't think, in fact, Tally doesn't save information or the data which is routed. Tally uses as a pass-through. They don't store the information. I don't think you can retrieve a deleted invoice. Vishwanath, for different cost centers, we have different GSTN. Vishwanath, as of now, Tally do not have this feature of having one data instances, multiple GST numbers. You need to get to any of the Tally vendor who can customize for you. Right now, one Tally instances, one GST number. In my recommendation, split for each GST maintain Tally. It is easy for your GST R9, your ITC. I would recommend, but however, you can get in touch with the Tally partners. Nayan, before submitting on portal offline JSON file got deleted. That's okay. If you have used a third-party tool to generate the JSON file, you can click on that and again generate. Rajesh sir is asking, can you show raising Evabel from Tally? Okay, good question, Rajesh sir. So in the data where you are doing the e-invoice, you only for the purpose of Evabel, you let me just show you one slide. So I am creating one entry. Let me just update the address. Otherwise, everything. Let us say I am selling some value is now more than 50,000. Tally automatically recognizes that Evabel will be required for this. All right. And now let us provide the information that is required for the Evabel. So dispatch from Bangalore, ship to Bangalore. You don't need to mention the distance. it will automatically take it basis the PIN code. So mode of transport is road. All that you need to do is vehicle number. So it is not overdimensional regular cargo, and generate. So 27th September for 61,125, I am generating an E-invoice. Okay, some information I would have missed it. That's okay. You can go back always to your E-invoice register and information required. Okay. Yeah. So this is 72,000 ready for E-invoice. Now I'm generating the E-invoice for this document. So now, given that I have entered the details for Evabel, which is the vehicle number, that's all is required. System will automatically calculate pin to pin distance. So today E-invoice will get generated and it will also give the Evabel to you. So in this information, which is the invoice generated, 72,000. Now, when I print this invoice and I'm showing the preview. Sir, Evabel did not get generated to this automatically.
Yeah, no, sir. There was error in Evabel. If you go to Evabel report, some mandatory informations are missing there. Click on go to and Evabel report.
Evabel. Yeah, information required for Evabel did not get provided. Okay, Tanzania address. Vehicle, okay, vehicle type I should have given regular. So information relating to Evabel was not provided, hence Evabel did not get generated. Sir, how do I update now to this Evabel automatically? Possible?
So since now E-invoice is generated, you can send it for only Evabel. You can go to exchange and send it for
Yeah,
only
so I'm just now sending to Evabel. So let's see.
No,
Okay, sandbox facility is not available for the Evabel. But if it was a live system, these activities will happen. So system is taken care. So your IRP permits takes care of generating Evabel automatically. Okay. Shankar is asking for exempted B2C, no invoice is required, correct. Advanced adjustment feature provided in Tally. This is a regular Tally thing. Can you show an USD invoice for exports? So Vidya, it's like commercial invoice, you will have $1,000, but in my Tally data entry, I would be entering as 80,000 rupees. So Tally will take that value and it will put it. Sir, I'd like to see the video again. I don't know whether this is recorded and the branch will be able to share it. So I don't know. Yeah, Shankari, thank you. Yeah, I think we have answered all the questions back to the organizers. Too many thank you messages. I am happy that the session was useful. Thank you, the participants.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of SIRC, Vice Chairman couldn't join the session as he's held up with another meeting. So on behalf of office bearers, SIRC Chairman, Vice Chairman, Secretary in their absence, so thank you so much for the time spent here, sir, on knowledge dissemination on a short notice and also and to continue support SIRC, sir. And Shanmukha, sir, thank you so much for from your and also, sir. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.